After back-to-back promotions with Bradford City, it was time for a change. Off to Portman Road we go as the new manager of Ipswich Town. The media prediction of 8th is all well and good, but this side finished 19th in the Championship last season, and at least half of this best 11 is unhappy. But that's not really what this series is all about. We're looking to beat the 92 English League clubs, and after 2 years with Bradford, we've beaten 36. That's nearly 40%. We have 8 seasons left in this challenge to get the rest done. Jump forward to August, and this Ipswich side is much different and hopefully better than the one I took over. So far, we've sold £32 million worth of players and only spent £5.5 million in return, but we are well over the wage budget and already have 6 loans in for the season. First, the outs. Dutch defensive midfielder Jaro Riedeveld is off to Saudi Arabia for £11 million. Stalwart defender Luke Wolfenden was unhappy, so forced his way out to recently promoted Bristol City for another £8 million. Saleh Ukon went to Saudi for just under £4 million, with Al Khalij also spending £5 million to take Axel Tuanzebe off of my hands. The final, for now, player out the door was former captain Harry Clark, who joined Middlesbrough for £4 million. Now, more importantly, the new players began with first-choice goalkeeper Freddie Woodman on a free transfer after he'd impressed with Preston in League One last season. And then there were 2 loan signings from last season had already been made permanent before I joined the club, with Isaac Hayden from Newcastle and Josh Bowler from Forest for a combined £2.6 million. My free transfers continued, with veteran striker Chris Wood joining us after his time at Forest came to an end, and Hannibal joined from Manchester United to star in our midfield. Chelsea cast-off Faustino Angerin also signed, but is unlikely to feature immediately in the starting 11. I then set about filling out the squad with loan signings, bringing in Connor Bradley from Liverpool, Jamie Donnelly to lead the attacking line from Spurs, Ed Turns from Brighton, Emmanuel Iwu from Bournemouth to really shore up our defence, Finlay Burns from Man City, and Andrew Moran, also from Brighton, but mainly because he's at Blackburn currently, and also he looks really, really good. We're also in the process of bringing in veteran Sander van der Streek to provide added depth to the midfield, whilst goalkeeper Jamie Cumming is all but signed by Leicester to become their backup keeper. I'm hanging on to him though, as Woodman is injured to start the season. Speaking of starting the season, the preview now has us up at 10th, but I reckon I've strengthened enough to really push for playoff contention. Poor Bradford, on the other hand, are predicted to go straight back down with Tony Mowbray now in charge. The opening day saw things start incredibly well, and just 10 minutes into the game, a poor clearance by the Wednesday keeper was intercepted by Moran and slotted in Donnelly for the opening goal. 20 minutes later, and Bowler found Donnelly in loads of space, and he looped in a stunner from 20 yards that Yeboah itself off the crossbar.
Yeboah. On he goes! Oh!
Before half-time, Burns headed home a scrambled corner to make it 3, and Donnelly grabbed his hat-trick from the penalty spot. The second half slowed down considerably, with Sheffield Wednesday grabbing a consolation goal before a broadhead cutback allowed Angerin to score on his debut as well. And the 6-1 victory was completed as Iwu nodded in from a Brannigan free kick. A fantastic performance all around. A couple of rocky performances followed, but we were back to our best against Plymouth. Donnelly once again opened up the scoring with a cracking effort from long range, before Iwu headed in the rebound after a Burns hit the crossbar from a corner. Minutes later, Burns found the target with his head finally, and we went into half-time 3-0 ahead. Donnelly and Hannibal then linked up on the edge of the area, with the Tunisian grabbing his goal to make it 4, and a Plymouth consolation from a late corner didn't dampen our spirits too much. We sold another former first-team defender as Leif Davies wanted out, and was headed to the UAE for $7.5 million, and we finally confirmed that sale of Jamie Cumming to Leicester for $600k. His replacement came in the form of Dutch keeper Mickey van Saars from Feyenoord for $150k, and we also broke the Ipswich transfer record by signing left-back Max Lowe from Derby for £7.5 million. Back on the pitch, we got our next victory over Swansea in a great game, and we went ahead early as Hayden's through ball found Moran, who smashed it home. Donnelly then notched up another with his head before Hayden hit a beautiful volley to make it 3-0 before half-time. It was a different story in the second half as we disappeared and allowed Swansea to get 2 goals from set pieces, but we managed to just about hold on for the victory. Then, for some reason, Blackburn boss Jon Dahl Tomasson started taking shots at my transfer dealings. Definitely friendly fire there, mate. Speaking of Blackburn, we signed former Rovers man Joe Rothwell on a free after he'd left Bournemouth, another solid player for our midfield. We continued to beat up well on Welsh clubs, putting 3 past Cardiff, with Donnelly getting the opener before second half goals from Bowler and Wood put us to 40 teams overall. The rest of September was draw heavy, and we ended the month just outside the playoffs in 8th place. More goals followed in our next victory over QPR, with the game eventually ending 6-2 in our favour. Donnelly and Van der Streek got goals in the first half before a goal line scramble at the opposite end kept QPR in the game by half-time. Bowler grabbed another great solo goal after the break before turning provider for Hayden to make it 4. QPR followed with a consolation before Donnelly and then Hayden grabbed their second goals of the game to finish us off at 6-2. This set us up nicely for a visit back to Valley Parade and a struggling Bradford. Now Moran made a great run to score the opener, but the game really took a turn at half-time. Donnelly found Selina and bags of space for the second before Selina hustled for an interception and scored a cracking second goal of his own. We took our foot off the pedal though and allowed Bradford to grab 2 goals before Wood headed home from a corner to score a 4-2 victory over my former club. This put us at 42 clubs out of 92, but we were far from finished yet. Over the next 4 games we scored 9 unanswered goals over Sunderland, Burnley, Coventry and Millwall to rack up 4 more victories and put us to the halfway point of our challenge. November was a great month and another victory over Middlesbrough left us in second in the table behind rivals Norwich. December was much more rocky, but we did score 4 wins out of 7 and 3 of those counted in our challenge. The first being a 4-2 victory over West Brom. Burns grabbed the opener, followed by a great turn in the box, before Rothwell bundled home the second. West Brom got one back in the second half, but Rothwell turned provider and sent Van der Streek through for the third goal, with Wood making it 4 to round things out. We nearly stumbled against Reading as they took the lead in first half injury time, but Ipswich took control in the final 10 minutes, with Hayden capping off a great move for the equaliser, and then it was Van der Streek who continued his great form by grabbing a brace, and we were up to 48 wins. Another goal fest closed out the year as we smashed Rotherham 5-2. Hayden, a brace from Donnelly, Moran and Wood were the goal scorers. Despite the setbacks in December, we were still in a strong second place in the Championship table and up to 13 wins for Ipswich with 49 overall. This is going incredibly well. We got lucky in the FA Cup draw as we handed a tie with Peterborough, a side we failed to beat as Bradford, but we got the win thanks to a goal from Hurst and a penalty from Donnelly, and 50 was up. Defeat to Stoke followed and we went behind to Hull after a sloppy pass was intercepted, but some much better passing set up our equaliser, with Moran finishing it off. Donnelly put us ahead from the penalty spot, but Hull were quick to level things up as well, and the tie was finally broken thanks to another well-worked goal that was finished off by Hannibal. We had our third shot at Leeds for the season and went ahead thanks to Burns, but Leeds equalised late in the second half to ruin our chances at another scalp. In the next match against Forest, we went ahead before half-time as Broadhead smashed home after a scramble. Forest levelled things up, but a rare appearance from Baggott at the back post put us back ahead. 2 late goals from Crespo, however, gave Forest the undeserved victory and we were still stuck. We rebounded with a run of victories which kept our promotion hopes alive and gave us a quarter-final place in the FA Cup against Chelsea. We were 1 point behind Forest and level on points with Middlesbrough with 10 games to go in the league. The FA Cup tie at Stamford Bridge was absolute chaos. A sloppy back pass allowed Nkunku through to give Chelsea the early lead, but then Broadhead got the equaliser from the penalty spot at the hour mark, and Chelsea were then back ahead by half-time thanks to a cracking volley from Lukaku. The second half saw Hannibal and Bowler linking up nicely down the right flank, and the Tunisian drew us level. Another abysmal back pass, however, allowed Lukaku through to put Chelsea ahead, and we gifted them 2 of their 3 goals. We tried to press the issue to get an equaliser, but Chelsea caught us on the break, and Lukaku sealed his hat-trick on the break. Broadhead then found a lovely through ball, putting Moran through, who then squared it for Hannibal to make it 3-4, and we'd still got a chance with 20 minutes to go. But Mudryk then put the game beyond doubt, and it ended 5-3 to Chelsea, with 2 of their goals being absolute gifts. This was a near miss for us in this challenge. But the very next game, we put 2 past Watford with a solid victory, Moran grabbing the first, Donnelly getting the second, and things were back on the right track. 2 more victories in the league set up a massive clash with Norwich. We were 5 points behind them with a game in hand, so a victory would put us in pole position for the Championship title. Now the derby game started well as Hannibal caught a rebound and blasted home from the edge of the area, but Norwich got a late equaliser and we were left with just 1 more chance to increase our win count this season, with our automatic promotion hopes going down to the final day as well. Now that game at home to Blackburn was a key one. We moved to 53 out of 92 with a 2-0 victory and secured automatic promotion to the Premier League. Donnelly grabbed both goals and we will definitely be looking to make his loan move permanent next season. Our running was a little rough, but we did still do enough to beat Forest on goal difference and take second place in the league. 53 down, 39 to go, 7 more seasons left to do it in, but the Premier League is going to be really tough next season.